Today we're going to do some plowing, and I'm going to talk about how I set my plow up, talk about why I plow, uh, and then we're going to go down and do some plowing, and of course how often I plow. We're going to talk about all that today in this video. And I've got my 2-bottom plow. I think it's a 16-inch double bottom. I've got my John Deere 5055D, which is a 55 horsepower tractor, and we're going to talk about all that. So I've just hooked this thing up, this plow up, so I'm going to show you exactly what I go through to get this thing set up to plow. And so I got an unexpected rain shower this morning, so it might be too wet, so maybe we can get at least one row and we can kind of see how it goes. I plan to do a couple of sections, and I'll talk about that while I get down there, why I want to do the one and the other one. So let's set this thing up and I'll show you how I do it. So I'm up here on my driveway. This is one of the levelest spots on my driveway. So I pulled it here, and like I said, I've just hooked this up, so I've not made any adjustments. So I'm gonna lower this down pretty close to the driveway. I actually use these flat bars to kind of level. I want this down close to the ground as I can get it, and then I want this to level. Now this one's broke off, and so I just kind of go by this part here. I want this and this to kind of be level. So let's go down a little bit more. Actually looks halfway decent. I'm gonna go down just a little bit more. It's here to be in the same plane. I think I'm just gonna go with that. Now if I was gonna make an adjustment, this top link's how I do it. So I would turn that in and out depending on how I want that to pitch. So I'm just gonna go with that, and that's very lucky for me. And we'll go down there and try it. Like I said, now this is like a 2-bottom plow. I think it's a 16-inch. Bought this at an auction for $100. I started out with a single bottom plow. When we first moved here, my dad bought that for me, and I used it for, it's about wore out. I put new points on it. The points down here get rounded off, and these are getting pretty bad. And but I had a Massey Ferguson 230, and it would pull that single fine. Now, it would struggle with this plow in our soil. And I'm in East Tennessee, so I have a lot of clay, and kind of makes it kind of hard. But this tractor, I think, so far has pulled it really well. And so I'm pretty much liking the setup here. Of course, when we get down there, we'll pull a little row and we'll look at it and see how it does, and then we'll have to make any final adjustments. We're good. So I used to plow every other year. I have not plowed my gardens, about probably 3.5 acres, and I've not plowed those in 4 years. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 3 years. I kind of go by feel. Now I have a tiller, so that goes on the back of this in a heavy duty, and I'll explain to you why I think I need to plow. But the reason I'm gonna plow down here today is where we grew the corn last year, our sweet corn. It's got a lot of residual on it, so I'm gonna turn that over, and I'm gonna put so actually gonna end up being the pumpkin patch, but I'm gonna grow turnips and collards. I mean, not collards, radishes, and maybe some kohlrabi and stuff in there till we get ready for pumpkins. So I need to get that turned over today or tomorrow. I'm also going to turn over my pumpkin patch, but it's way too wet. I can look at it and tell from here. And so I plow about every other year. Like I said, I haven't plowed in 3 years. I'm plowing everything this year, everything, because I have not plowed, like I said, I've not plowed in 3 or 4 years. So I usually go at least every other year, maybe every third year, and it just depends on the compaction of my garden. And I'll tell you why that does that. So I have a heavy duty tiller that I put on the back of this 6-foot, and that's mainly what I use, and that's what I like to use, because the way we use our biodegradable plastic, it makes a good seed bed. But if I just use that, This thing, when it goes, it turns this way, and it gets about, oh, I don't know, 4 inches of dirt and fluffs it up. But when it goes and rotates, it hits that 4 inches layer and it packs that down hard. You can see it just packs this layer down, and then that makes a hard pan. So what I need to do is come back ever so often with the plow, and I try to go as deep as I can, about 10 inches at least, and it takes that hard pan and turns it up, and then I have a good seed bed. And not something I do every year, like I said, just kind of on feel. I could kind of feel it's getting a little compacted last year. I can tell by the sound of the tiller whether, you know, if it's hitting some hard pan. So, and if you do it year after year after year, it really packs that down. Imagine taking soil in your hand and patting that down and patting it down and patting it down. Eventually it gets really hard and compacted. So that's what it's doing. It's packing that soil down as it goes down through there. And you need to break that up. So that's why I till. I mean, that's why I plow. And a lot of people, you know, you see, you know, with the broad fork and all that. I've got 3.5 acres. It'd take me forever to broad fork, and I just don't want to. This works for me. And you know, some people put down lasagna garden, and you know, whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm not knocking that. I'm just telling you, this is what I want to do, this is what I like to do, and this is what works for me. I like riding the tractor. The tractor works one of the funnest part of my garden experience, so I'm gonna use my tractor. And I like the biodegradable seed mix because I mean, the biodegradable mulch, and you don't have to, I don't have to fool with it anymore. And like I said, you watch my other videos, you know, I just run over it with a cutting har, and it turns into soil is made out of cornstarch. So we got a pretty good little system going finally, and it kind of works for us. It's just me and my wife. We're gonna keep it that way. I don't want to hire nobody. I don't want to get no bigger than what we are right now. And I think we're kind of getting a good point where we know what we can grow, we know kind of what sells, we know what we like, and we're kind of in that ballpark. So that's what we're going to stay in. So let's go down to the garden and see if it's too wet to plow, and see if this thing's set up good, and I'll show you kind of how to line up. And there's all kinds of different ways to plow. You know, let me bring my brown board back. So here's your field. You can start on the outside and plow, and come around, do this way, and just go like this. And I've done that a lot. But today I'm gonna go center out. We'll go center, just like this. So I'm gonna go from the center out. I've seen people go on YouTube and stuff. They go kind of a diagonal and turn, and, you know, but that's too complicated for my simple mind. So we're gonna keep it simple. And now this setup too, it's just for me. Like I said, I'm in East Tennessee. You know, you watch them be out west. You know, they're pulling those big 6 and 8 gang plows or whatever. Their soil is totally different than what I've got. You know, this is like a garden plow. So I don't think I'm gonna go out to the prairie and start plowing. I wouldn't want to plow this whole place up with this thing. It'd take forever. All right, so let's go down there and see if it's dry enough. If it ain't dry enough, I'll probably have to wait tomorrow to do some serious plowing, but we can go down there today and kind of see if it's adjusted right, and I'll show you how I line everything up. Down here at the pumpkin patch, or this is where the pumpkin patch is going to be. And I grew sweet corn in this area last year, and there's a lot of residual residue down. I don't know if it shows up on camera. So I want to turn all this over and get this ready to plant in a couple weeks. So what I do when I first go, I'm going in this, I just kind of estimate the center of the field, so I'm right in the center. And then I have a little silver thing right here on my tractor. It's right here, and I line it up with a point on the other end of the field. So I'm going just to the right that walnut tree right down there. I've got a walnut tree with a ribbon in it that I marked last year. So that's where I'm gonna go. That's my aim point. So I try to keep that. That's the center of the tractor on that, and we'll see how it goes. And it's kind of feels a little wet, but maybe it ain't. So I'm gonna crank up and get going. And I usually start out in first gear, then once we get going, I'll go to second. It makes it a little faster. And I have done, if it's really dry, I can do in third, but I don't think it's dry enough for that. But you don't want it real dry. You obviously don't want it wet because of the clump. So, or hang up to your plow. All right, let's get this tractor cranked up and see if we can get something plowed here. A little wet like you see, but doing pretty good. But I need to make an adjustment, so I think the front is, when I go down in there, it's a little deeper than the back. So I'm gonna raise this up, lengthen the drawbar thing and on the top link, and then we'll see if it goes down. Well, I think I actually went too far, but you can see it's a little bit better because of I got that dirt turning over both sides, and I think it's gonna be too wet, but I'm gonna go down and come back and we'll try another row, but I want to adjust this in just a little bit. And if I'd been smart, I would have counted how many turns I did, but you can see right here. So that's about, I actually need to go just a little bit deeper, and I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that's really wet. All right, let's do a little more. You can see I've got several passes made, and it's doing pretty good actually. It is still a little wet. I wish I could go just a little bit deeper, but it's hard, it's spinning, so just gonna go with it. I'm probably a good, I don't know, maybe that deep. So we'll go with it. And it's tilling up nice. I've got my depth set. I think everything's going. One thing I will tell you that I have a bad thing of doing, especially when I'm doing that first row, I look back to see how it's doing, and when I do, I turn that wheel, or I turn it whichever way I'm looking. If I'm looking back, I turn it that way. If I look that way, I'm turning it that way. So, I mean, I try to concentrate on doing that, but I don't. But I still got a pretty straight row. I actually did a Sunday school lesson about that, about looking back when you're plowing. You know, don't look back in your life. Don't look back when you plow. So stuff's behind you. You need to keep your eyes forward, and I need to remember that when I'm doing this. But let's see, this is my 4th pass, and I think it's done pretty good. So I'm gonna try to get this done, and I might try to do the potatoes. I don't know. I run through the other day with my potato plow to see if there's any that I missed, and found a few, and so it's kind of turned over anyway. I might not even have to do that, because yeah, I'm gonna do that. So this is I've never plowed this area here, and I used to think that this has never been plowed, but like I said, I think in another video, I seen a picture from 1940 and it showed it was plowed all the way for a long way down through there. It's plowed this way. All right, so I'm gonna try to set you up, and I'm gonna try to do a time lapse and get this on there. It's something new for me. My wife brought it to my attention. I need to try that, so I'm gonna try to set it up, and I'm gonna set you up here, and then we'll do a time lapse, and then we'll see when it's over with and how long it takes and everything. There you go, one of the fields done. It took me exactly 32 minutes. That's with filling with the camera and everything. So that wasn't too bad. Here comes a plane. So I got one field down, 4 more to go. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 more to go. And probably about a total of 3 hours, probably. This took 32 minutes. This one's a little bigger, and that was a little bigger. That won't take long. That won't take long. So probably about 2.5 hours more. But you know, the question of do you need to, which is better, tilling or plowing? I think you need to do both. Now I'm not talking about if you had a little garden and just walk behind tillers. I wasn't much worried about that. It's not gonna really compact anything, but that tiller I got is heavy. I mean, I bet it weighs like 1,000 pounds and puts a lot of pressure on the ground, and that's why I think I need to do this. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I answer all comments. You can send me an email. We do a live every Monday night at 7:30. Come over and check us out. Give us a thumbs up. Share with your friends. Help us grow. Can't grow without your help. Hit that subscribe button. Support your local farmer. We'll see you down here in the farm next video.